The Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. Bullying the Oppo since 2004.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. And first off, a massive thank you to everyone that's taken the time to rate and review the Cricket Podcast, either on YouTube, Apple or Facebook. Some great feedback. Dulver Singh, fantastic podcast, extremely in-depth regarding the whole cricketing landscape. Great stuff, Robin Rich, you're on to a winner. And Aaron Parker, brilliant podcast that covers a wide range of cricket focus. If you like cricket, go check it out. That man seems to know what he is talking about. So a massive thank you for taking the time out of your day and supporting the podcast. We're growing. We're up over 50 likes on Facebook, growing on YouTube, growing on Apple. It is all good, sir. So today on the Leading Edge Podcast, we're going to get stuck into the live reaction to what has just gone on in an epic contest between New Zealand and England in the fourth one-day international. We'll take a look at what went down in the third one-day international. There's county signing, Sean Abbott's in the papers. The Australians seem to want to get in a fight, backed up by David Warner, aka Scrappy Doo. It is all going on in the world of cricket at the moment, and we are here to tell you exactly what that is. I am joined today by my co-host, Rich.
Hey Rob, how's it going?
We are grand, thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, buddy, pretty good. Just actually sat here with the New Zealand-England highlights on, so I'm getting caught up.
Oh,
these
nice.
Damn time zones.
Cracking highlights, different time zones that has thrown us out today. Rich, shall we crawl at 9:30, mate? Yeah, no, 9:30's great. Well, the clocks seem to have changed and I was there an hour early. It makes a change for me to be an hour early, but I was there an hour early anyway.
I just have visions of you getting grumpy, sat there in your little Kiwi home going, oh, he said it was 9:30, and then realising you had the time wrong.
Oh, bloody hell, cobber.
Anyway.
So, starting off with a story. Now, every time we go, Rich, what's been going on in the week? And you've given us some great fascination into the life of Rich. Now, I've got a bit of a story here. So, let's get a scenario going. It's a cold Saturday in England, and it's a bit of a wet wicket. You're playing against a team that's top of the league, and you really need to try and get a result to try and stay up in the league. Now, things have gone from bad to worse, and you find yourself 20 for 4. Rich steps up at number 6, strides out to the crease. Now, what happens next? I don't know. You explain it, Rich. What happens when it's 20 for 4 at Bramcote and there's a fielder at long off?
This one, yeah. Oh, come on. I can't believe you stitched me up with this one, man. First off, we need to realise, and we need to paint the picture. Bramcote, it's a nice little place. It's a bit of a public paddock, and their pavilion is kind of over it's sort of long off, isn't it, where their pavilion is?
Yeah, long off.
So, yeah, exactly. It's just drops down a little bit. So, people hang around there. Everyone's in the whites. It's not like international where people are wearing the Mario Balotelli vests or anything like that. So, yeah. So the visibility is not ideal, is it, when you've got the batting team all stood around? So, I think you might be talking about the game where I worked it around nicely for a little bit and then thought, oh, okay, this little military medium bowler has left me a nice big gap through mid-off, long off. I'll just chip one over the top there, 1 bounce 4, maybe a 6, just put it into the pavilion.
Yep.
Very handy. So, yeah, just saw him coming. First ball, just knocked it up. Yeah, that looks all right. And then suddenly one of the people at the pavilion, which I thought was one of my teammates, suddenly came off the line a few yards and took the catch. So, yeah, I think that's right. And look, the excuse of I didn't see him has been used many times in club cricket, mostly because of utter complete bullshit. But in this instance, it was actually true. I didn't see him.
I didn't see him. It's classic. It's absolute classic, and it's probably the best story I've got on you in terms. One of the best stories I've got on anyone at club cricket level of I didn't see the fielder.
Genuinely didn't. Oh well, my fault.
Incredible scenes. Now, last episode when we were here, we talked about Club Cricketers Corner and we took you through Carroll Cricket Club and how they won the league and then eventually got relegated based on their decision to go against the spirit of the game. Now, this time we have a different Club Cricketers Corner. We've got a different story, and we're talking about a guy called Shane Dadswell. Yeah, that well-known player, Shane Dadswell, the South African lad. Now, Rich, I want you to cast your eyes back to when you were 20 years old. It was your 20th birthday. Not quite 21.
Easily done.
Year before that. What did you do, or what did you want for your 20th birthday?
Oh, I've no idea, mate. I don't know. I'm that old Sega Mega Drive. No, I'm only joking. I ain't got a clue, buddy.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. New Forestshire.
New Forestshire, okay. Well, Shaney, he was probably dreaming of a century or a double hundred, playing a bit of club cricket, bit of List A cricket. Well, actually, he went incredibly on to score the record for the highest ever List A score of an individual that's ever been recorded. He scored, get this, 490 runs by himself off 151 balls on his birthday.
So he scored what? 490 runs?
490. Just, the numbers are nuts. 57 sixes. 57! I've not hit 57 sixes on Brian Lara cricket.
This needs an asterisk. I need to see the pitch he played on. What was it? Someone's backyard?
It might have been a backyard cricket, and 6 and out was taken out of the game. But what a birthday. What a birthday. 490. The team scored 677 for 3 in 50 overs, which is also a minor cricket record for the highest score by a team in a 50-over contest. And surprisingly, they won the game. 387-run victory. But he didn't stop there. Oh, no. He went on and picked up 2 for 32 in 7 overs. So not only did he bat all that time, get your whites out, son. Get your bowling boots. You need to finish off the job from the other end.
Well, to be fair, if he's kind of, smashed the ball around like that and decides he wants to be the Billy Big Boy there, he's got to come out and field. I'm not sitting there watching it. As entertaining as it probably would have been, I'm not sitting there fetching the ball out of the field every 5 minutes. Climbing over into the sheep field to go and get the ball back to then just see him with his feet up when we're fielding. So, yeah, get in the field, mate. You can have a bowl as well. Uphill, into the wind, get going.
Get going, uphill, into the wind. Nothing a club cricketer hates more. And it's a part of club cricket that you have to earn to bowl with the wind. It's no good being young and fast. Nah. No. It's done to the senior statesmen in the team, isn't it?
Too right, pal. Too right. We know we know which end we need to be at.
Yeah, I normally come on after you these days if I was still playing. Yeah, you can have the new ball. I'll just come on and drop it on a length-ish. Wind assisted.
I said which length, Rob? You said you're going to drop it on a length. Which one?
Oh, probably halfway down and a little bit wide of off stump and being cut away for ribbons.
Dear me, that's a ridiculous score. I don't think that's right. I need to see that pitch. I need pictures of that pitch he played on.
We do. If anyone actually knows this story, who's listening to the podcast and has a picture of the pitch that they played on, please send it through to us. Let's make it sure it's bigger than 50 square metres. If it's not, we've got a serious problem. We need to go to Cricinfo or Wisden or some authority to get this righted and get the Indian young lad that got the top score a few years back in his rightful place at the top. But incredible scenes. If you've got any cricket stories like this, anything that's going on in your county game, make sure you drop us an email to the leadingedgepodcast@gmail.com and we'll make sure we get your story on the air. Now, Rich, the big question, the big series that's been going on is all about New Zealand against England, and I don't think it's failed to deliver. It seems like it's an absolutely incredible series. Now, I think we should start with the third one-day international, purely because the last time we saw you, we'd just seen the second one-day international. So we'll build the suspense up to what has been an epic, epic performance in the fourth one-day international.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. I mean, it's we said these two teams, there's not much in them, not much between them, should I say. So, yeah, it's been really, really entertaining cricket. So England, they followed up the impressive win in the second ODI with another win in the third ODI. So that means they were 2-1 up at this point. Batting first, England hit 2-3-4 in 50 overs. Runs been shared around a bit. Captain Morgan 48, Ben Stokes again 39, Jos Buttler 29, and Moeen Ali 23. Ish Sodhi 3 for 53, and Tremlett 2 for 47 for the Kiwis with the ball. England were able to chip away at the New Zealand batting lineup. It's one of those where it was a one-man sort of holding it together. Kane Williamson hit a really gutsy 112, but it was just not quite enough for New Zealand as England clinched the win by the fine margin of 4 runs. Williamson was helped a little bit by Colin Munro. He hit a relatively quick 49. One of your favourite scores, Rob?
49, that calls for jug avoidance.
And our main man, Mitch Santner, he showed up the bat again, hitting 41. I've criticised Moeen Ali a little bit, but on top of his 23, he also did get a 3 for 36, whilst Adil Rashid got 2 for 34 as well. But headlines, Chris Wokes took 2 for 40, and he was also the guy that bowled in the last over. So that was the nervous last over. I think they needed, was it about A16 to win or something like that? So
yeah.
It was a close one. So that took us to a 2-1. And, decent England on the up. Our predictions of 3-2 wins for New Zealand. Your prediction of a 3-1 to New Zealand, then a 3-2 is out the window now.
It's gone.
Mine's still on. So that was where we left it at the third ODI. Fourth ODI, Rob. Wow.
It doesn't get any better.
Taylor.
It doesn't get any better. Cricket doesn't get any better.
I mean, I'm just catching up. Like I say, I've got half an eye on the highlights in the background. And what a game! I mean, just running through the scores for England, 335 for 9. Okay, they've won that game, yeah? You post that score, first innings, they've won the game, yeah? Would you agree, Rob?
Done. Game's done.
Game done, isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
Jason Roy, 42, Johnny Bairstow, 138. I saw a bit of that knock before I went to bed. Off 106 balls, that was really good. He put a couple on top of the roof of that building right next to the ground. Joe Root finally got himself over 3 figures. I say that. His problem of getting out in the 70s and 80s, we've already established it's not that bad a problem. Rooty got 100 as well. Tom Curran, 22 not out off 10 balls, 4 fours in the last over that helped post that score of 335. Fantastic score. Ish Sodhi 4 for 58, Tremlett 2 for 56, and even Munro in the wickets 2 for 53.
Yeah,
so that's. Sorry, I was just going to say that's where we set up at the break.
Yeah, incredible effort by England. Bairstow and Joe Root, incredible. Jason Roy just hit the ground running. The guys were just timing the pants off the ball and looking like a beautiful surface. And the big problem here for England is they should have got 370. And that sounds ridiculous to say, that team should have got 370. But England was so set. 267 for 2. Both guys... Bairstow, 267 for 1, and then they lost 2 quick wickets. Bairstow and Butler went. And Ish Sodhi just kind of managed to pull stuff together. And England actually lost 6 wickets for 21 runs. So the scoreboard was, you bookended by the 138 and 102 from one end, and then it just kind of slipped off. And we go into phone book status on the scores until Tom Curran's last over. Until that last over, England were looking like they might get about 320 maybe. But incredible last over by Tom Curran. But Ish Sodhi was the guy that changed the game. England's mentality with the batting, I say mentality while I'm pointing at my head because I sometimes struggle with this myself, was just wrong. It's a smallish ground, but they never, there was 15 overs left and England was so set. 260 for 1. So set in a one-day international with 15 overs to go. Every single batsman that came in tried to leather the ball from ball 1 and failed.
That's England's style, though, isn't it? That's how Owen Morgan has set them up to play. That's how he wants to play. It's basically full go, pedal to the metal, whatever you want to say. They're not going to take a moment to think about situations. If they've lost a couple of quick wickets, it's not part of their mentality to actually hold back. It's just keep going. Next man, keep going, keep going. So it comes off. It wins them games of cricket. In other times, maybe it doesn't win them games of cricket, but still 3-3-5, regardless of what they should have had. That's still a score you've got to defend, even though it was a quick outfield. It's not the biggest field in the world here, is it? No. It's a decent score, but like you say, after the top 3, we've got single figures down to Adil Rashid, I think we've got 11, and then, as you said again, Tom Curran, he got himself a nice little not out. So big question marks in that middle order. But yeah, England should have gone on to win the game. And as you're hearing, should have gone on to win the game, just because New Zealand did win the game. 339 for 5, 3 balls to spare, thanks mainly to Ross Taylor. A limping Ross Taylor, I believe. 181 not out of 147 balls. Rob, let's just talk about Ross Taylor for a minute there. Tell me about it. What did you see?
Just one of the finest one-day innings you will ever see. It'll go down in Black Caps folklore, this innings. It's, you've seen it in different sports over the years. There's the famous Terry Butcher with the bandage around his head and blood coming out. This was a cricketing version of that.
Sorry, I was trying to think. Cricketer, Terry Butcher, who did he play for?
Terry Butcher. Terry Butcher, Frank Butcher's brother.
Sorry, carry on.
But it's just epic. England were in a mess. Wokesy, right, let's start off with the first ball that Colin Munro faced. Absolutely stone dead, in swinging halfway up middle stump, and they put it to the referral system, and it was halfway up middle stump. Terrible referral by New Zealand. Mark Wood started well. Martin Guptill could not get going. 0 runs, 10 balls. And that is purely down to Chris Woakes. Chris Woakes has discovered, you've full length, Guptill smashes it. Good length, Guptill will have a go at it. Just a tiny, we're talking inches shy of a good length. And Martin Guptill was in struggle, couldn't get the ball away, and eventually just looped one up to Ben Stokes. So top bowling by the English team. Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor were at the crease early doors, and Kane Williamson was going about his business, looking dangerous, batting superbly, and Ben Stokes came on, first ball, down the leg side, bit of just a long hop down the leg side, and he got given out off the glove. Now, they didn't have a referral, and it turns out the ball actually didn't hit the glove.
Ouch.
That's
boring. Yeah, just a bit, and it shows you wasteful reviews. Hitting halfway up middle. Maybe don't review that one.
Exactly.
New Zealand, they started. It was 2 for 2, wasn't it? Guptill and Munro both with noughts beside their names. So again, it shows you even more how impressive this victory was. Coming back from 2 for 2, you could chase 3-3-5. You need Guptill and Munro to at least hit 50s.
Yeah.
At least hit 50s to get that platform. So, it's incredible. Just to go through who else contributed to this one. The wicketkeeper batsman Latham, 71. Williamson, 45. De Grandhomme, 23 off 12 later on. It's just such a great effort. Ross Taylor, have you got it up, Rob, how many sixes he hit?
Yeah, Ross Taylor hit 6 sixes and 17 fours. And one of the great things...
I expected more.
Yeah. One of the great things about his innings was he just looked like... If we roll back like 18 months in the Ross Taylor story, it might have been 2016, he was really struggling with his game, and he actually had a problem with his eye, and he went in and got eye surgery. Since he's come back from then, he's averaging 65 in one-day internationals, got 9 50s and about 3 or 4 centuries, and this is his best ODI score of all time. Not a surprise, 181. Not many people have scored more than that. But he was zonal. He was hitting the ball so well from ball one, and then unfortunately picked up his quad injury. So, didn't get a runner out. He kept just soldiering on. But that was the turning point to which New Zealand took over the game, in fact, because Tommy Latham was batting well. There we go, Tommy. I'm on first names terms with him. He's no idea who I am.
Yeah.
And that was the turning point. So Tommy Latham was knocking around. He picked up just a well-made 71, run a ball sort of cricket. But when Taylor got injured, that's where he went into, I can't run, ones are no longer twos, twos are now one, and he just started swinging from the hip. And he was nailing the ball onto the stands, over the stands, into the car park, into the local WAF centre at the back. It was just fine striking, and he started to slow down when Colin de Grandhomme came out, and the game was so in the balance. New Zealand still needed 90 off the last 10 overs. And de Grandhomme just came out and went, I got this, bro. It literally, first ball, 4 down the ground. Next ball, 4 over cover. Next ball, single. And then I think it was Tom Curran bowled at him, and he bowled a short ball. Thinking, oh yeah, he's just wanting to smash it straight. Well, he played a very classy little uppercut over where third man would have been, into the stands for 6. It was just a spectacular performance by the New Zealand team, and they had no right to win this game. You can't turn around and say England didn't bowl terribly. There was just some very, very good batting on the New Zealand behalf.
Yeah, fair play to them, mate. 2-2 going into the final game to be played on Friday. When I went to bed, I was watching Bairstow go to a century. I was watching Root go to his half century. I was thinking, this game, it's going to be 3-1. England got the series, but it's 2-2. I'm going to stick with my prediction. I'm going to stick with 3-2 to New Zealand. I reckon they clinch the decider.
I will back you up on that. I'm going New Zealand in Christchurch, and I think it's this weekend.
It is Friday, yeah. So whatever that means over there, that probably means like the 7th of June over there if it's Friday from here.
Well, we are about 2 months behind on Coronation Street, mate. So it could be two months behind on the old cricket scene.
2 months behind on Coronation Street and about 3 years behind on popular culture. Is that right, or is that just a vicious myth?
Myth, complete myth.
Sorry about that. Cool. So that wraps up. So shall we do a little bit of news?
Yeah, let's roll into it. Cricket news.
Right. Corey Anderson, we're staying on the New Zealand theme. Somerset, they've confirmed that they've re-signed him for the T20 Vitality Blast this summer. He had a bit of an injury. His spell was cut short through injury last year. After he scored 142 runs at 71, an average of 71 in 4 games. So a few not-outs in there before having to go back. So fitness aside, he will be available for the whole tournament this year. So nice pick-up from Somerset and another good county signing. Now, I'm hoping there might be some news coming out very soon. There was an announcement set for 10 a.m. this morning for Nottinghamshire, so I'm going to try and find that in a minute so we can get some breaking news.
Ooh, breaking news.
I know, we need a little breaking news drop if we do get it.
Breaking news.
Right. Liam Livingston. We mentioned last week that Livingston had a bit of he was injured and he'd gone home from the England Lions. He's been past fit, so he's going to be joining up with the England Test squad in New Zealand after proving his fitness. He's going to be arriving this weekend as preparations slowly start to begin for the first test, which starts on the 22nd of March. So good news for England. Bad news for any other batsmen that hope that they might be able to sneak a place in the squad.
Well, only those without a white ball contract, but that's none of my business.
Oh, don't start me off. I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to bite. I've moved on. I'm all right. Flood hasn't. Yes, I'm fine. The flood hasn't. I mean, who else has it done? There's nobody else in the news this week to go, oh, I've also signed a white ball contract. None of that. None of that.
I love it. Have you really moved on? Yes, I've moved on.
I'm fine. But literally, I am going to move on now.
Okay.
Bit of news coming over from Australia this week. This is a tough story, really. This one is Sean Abbott. You might remember that name. He's the Sheffield Shield bowler who was in the middle of Phil Hughes' incident when Phil Hughes obviously tragically passed away. He was the quick bowler that obviously the bouncer hit Phil Hughes on the back of the head. He was involved. Sean Abbott was involved in another really scary incident this week. So he's bowling a Sheffield Shield match for New South Wales against Victoria, and a short delivery hit Victorian batsman Will Pukovski on the helmet. He went down. It looked really bad to begin with. Apparently, he was ruled out for the remainder of the game with a concussion. Really scary moments while he was still on the ground. Abbott was understandably visibly upset on the field. You can imagine how he was feeling, really, can't you? So, I mean, he did come back. He did bowl later on in the day. Pukovski looks like he's going to, he will make a full recovery. But obviously, we want to talk about Sean Abbott just briefly for a second. But also, another point I just want to make is that Cricket Australia have brought in some concussion rules now. So they were able to sub out Pukovski for the rest of the game and brought in replacement in Dan Christian, which I think is an absolutely fantastic rule. We're not trying to get someone to feel better in a day or in an hour or whatever. I know, Rob, you're going to have, you've got some, first-hand experience of the effects of concussion. So it's something that I think this is a fantastic ruling, and this needs to be brought in across other sports and maybe cricket, around the world. So fingers crossed, Pukovski makes a full recovery and it doesn't affect Sean Abbott. But what a horrible, horrible situation to find himself in again. Yeah,
quite incredible. It's happened to the same guy twice. I remember there's probably every single cricketer in the world was affected when Sean Abbott hit Phil Hughes and Phil Hughes died, because we've all been that guy either being hit in the head or trying to hit someone in the head, and it just puts life in reality over cricket. And fair play to Sean Abbott for coming back from it. His career is cricket, very strong character to be able to come over it and, touch wood. Podovsky, the Russian?
Pukovski.
Close,
Will Pukovski.
Close. Hopefully he makes a full recovery, and fair play to Cricket Australia for actually taking the lead in the front foot. One, they made a difference to the helmets in world cricket. They put more protection around the neck and the back of the head that can be a really dangerous spot to be hit. Obviously there's plenty of protection on the sides, and also the sub-out rule. definitely no team should be penalised for someone suffering a head injuries because, first-hand experience, it took me 18 months to get over it. It's serious business and it can be life-altering. So hopefully all other, the ECB and the Indian Cricket Board, etc., are going to follow suit, and this will just become part and parcel of the rules of cricket. If someone gets head injury, bang, there's a substitute available to come in and take over and play.
Yeah, absolutely. So, from Australia and moving across to sunny Sri Lanka, the T20 Nihas Trophy, the tri-series between India, Bangladesh and the host Sri Lanka, got underway yesterday, and it was Sri Lanka who got off to the winning start, beating India by 5 wickets with 9 balls remaining. So chasing 174, man of the match Kusal Perera hit 66 off 37 balls, including 4 sixes for Sri Lanka. The Indian total was mainly thanks to the wonderful 90 off 49 balls from vice-captain Shikhar Dhawan. Love saying that man's name. He also blasted 6 fours and 6 sixes. Pandey and our man to watch, Rizab Pant, also chipped in with 37 and 23 respectively. We're going to be keeping an eye on this mini T20 series. It's exciting. There's a few new names in there, as we spoke about before. Our dear friend Washington, he got a couple of wickets. So we're going to be keeping on top of this one, and we'll keep bringing you updates as we put out new podcasts.
Beautiful.
West Indies A versus England Lions. We briefly mentioned this last week. Basically, we mentioned that England Lions were on the verge of an absolute hammering, and that is as polite as I want to put it. It could be a lot ruder with what West Indies A have just done to England Lions. So unsurprisingly, the third and final unofficial test also ended with a win for West Indies A. They got a 3-0 series win. I'm going to say England were underwhelming. Is that polite? That's nice, polite, isn't it? I think that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, nicely put.
If we say there was no real success for any of the batsmen, I think as well that's fair. And only really Jack Leach, the Somerset spinner, performed with the ball. He took 18 wickets at 21. So maybe he's the spinner that England should be looking at rather than Mason Crane at the moment. Maybe Mason Crane needs a bit more time. When there's someone like Jack Leach out there taking wickets and bowling well, especially in a series where nobody has done particularly well, then maybe he needs to be considered. No criticism of Mason Crane, but it's just maybe Leach should be the next cab off the rank. Let's have a look. This is just incredible. I've been following this. Obviously not been able to see any of it, but I've been following this. Have you ever heard of a left-arm spinner for West Indies called Jamal Warrican?
No, I can say I've never heard of him.
Right, okay. So in 3 games, 6 innings, he took 1 for 54 in his first bowl of the series. Steady, 1 for 54. Somebody else, Raheem Cornwall got the headlines that day because I think he got about 5 or 6 wickets. Anyway, after his 1 for 54, these were his figures: 7 for 33, 8 for 34, 4 for 69, 6 for 33, and then 5 for 55. That's not a bad run of form, is it?
Yeah, it's almost time to retire, mate, because you're absolutely at the peak of your career.
31 wickets in 3 games, so 6 innings, at just above an average of 8 per wicket for a left-arm spinner. When I first saw these wickets, these results coming through and these scores and these bowling figures, I'm thinking, this lad must be a nippy seamer. He must be doing a bit off these pitches. But no, he's a left-arm orthodox spinner. It's not like he's a leggy or anything like that. He's not Chinaman or anything. He's just an orthodox left-arm spinner, and he's just took 31 wickets at 8.
Wow.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's a good haul. Sort of numbers sometimes you see in club cricket when you get the superstar of the team who bowls 20 overs, picks up 5 for every week, heaps of wickets, goes at 10, 12 average year in, year out. This is the pros, buddy, and this is a different level.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah, I mentioned Raheem Cornwall. He's also 25. Both of these lads are 25 years old, so hopefully they've got a future for the West Indies side. Now, Raheem Cornwall does look like he's suffering for a little bit of the Samit Patels. And I say that in the nicest possible way because we both love Samit Patel.
We do.
But I'm not sure Raheem Cornwall's going to be kind of there straight away for West Indies cricket. I'm not going to go any further in that conversation.
No.
But yeah, he took 19 wickets at 18 as well. England totally outplayed. Fair play to West Indies A. 3 ODIs coming up now.
Yeah, and the first ODI, in fact, the results are just in. There you go. Live reaction to what's going on, mate. West Indies A got 272 in the first innings. Blackwood making a solid 99, and it calls for it again. jug avoidance. 99's a shocker. You've done all the hard work, Sunshine. What are you doing?
That's a shocker, mate. So, I was just having a very quick look to see if the 10 a.m. announcement from Nottinghamshire had been announced yet, and at 10:15 there is no announcement. So we cannot have a breaking news yet.
Watch this space. Just to finish off on the one-day international, so West Indies got 2-7-2, cracking game. England lost by 5 runs to West Indies A, 2-6-7 all out. Gubbins got 57, and then the Hong Kong-born Sam Hain made 144.
Wow, great knock. I believe that was his England Lions debut.
Oh, nice. England Lions debut is his highest List A score. Incredibly, 24 List A games, the guy averages 59.54, 500s, 650s.
Excellent. Is he Warwickshire, isn't he?
He is a Warwickshire boy. He's played Australian under-19s, Queensland under-19s as well. So obviously a bit all over the show, and I assume that he is committed to play for England if he's part of the England Lions series.
You would hope he is if he's playing for England Lions.
Yeah, he grew up, born in Hong Kong, grew up on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and then moved across to play for Warwickshire, as you do.
He sounds like an absolute typical English cricketer.
Yeah.
Born somewhere else, grown up somewhere else. No, we're not as bad as we used to be. It was basically South Africa A, wasn't it, once upon a time?
It was, but if you get the 3 lions tattooed on your arm, you're in for life, bro.
Let's not talk about that. Right, there's just one more bit of news that I think let's talk about first before we jump onto the big talking point. And the big talking point for us this week is the South Africa-Australia first test. But just before we get to that, I just want to mention Pakistan Super League. For a couple of reasons. One, it's about at the halfway point. And also because I hope everybody remembers, but my pick, the Multan Sultans, they're top of the table. 4 wins from 6 games. I mean, who knows his cricket? That's what I'm saying. Who knows his cricket? Me. I'll answer that one. So Multan Sultans, top of the table, 4 wins from 6. Karachi Kings are in second spot, followed closely by Peshawar Zalmi and Islamabad United. Quetta Gladiators are in 5th place, and sitting on the bottom, boys, what's going on? Lahore Qalandars, 5 losses from 5 games. I mean, come on, lads, up your game. Come on. It's not been the highest scoring tournament so far, but there's still been some really good performances. The ageless wonder, Kumar Sangakkara, just keeps scoring. He's had knocks so far. He's had a 1, but he's also had a 57, 63, 51 not out and a 28. So, I mean, I love that man. He's just going to keep going, isn't he? He's 40 years old now.
He does.
And he's still the star batsman.
Yeah, 350s in 5 innings for him. He's just a different gravy. He'll be 55 years old turning out for his local Sri Lankan team scoring hundreds week in, week out.
Oh, you know it, buddy. You know it. So, but I'm just having a brief look through. Shane Watson, who was playing, he's playing for Quetta Gladiators. He took 3 for 22 in one game. I mean, he got himself a 66 as well against Lahore Qalandars. There's been some really good performances. Like I say, Kumar Sangakkara, Colin Ingram, he got man of the match in a game. Imran Tahir, he's stepping up. Samit Patel got himself 24 off 24.
Good lad.
In one game for Islamabad. And also, I'm just trying to find another Samit. He opened the bowling in one game. I love the fact he opened the bowling. They're following the lead of Notts. One of the best ones that I've seen, though, in the match between Karachi Kings and Peshawar Zalamar, we had Dwayne Smith hitting 71 not out of 51 balls. But in the same innings, Mohammed Amir took 2 for 6 off 4 overs.
That's pretty special.
So for Karachi Kings, that is, and Karachi Kings ended up knocking those runs off with 2 balls to spare.
Yeah.
So Dwayne Smith, man of the match performance, will be 71 not out. But thanks to those 4 bowlers, that's just incredible, isn't it? Shahid Afridi's in the tournament. He took 3 for 19 in match 8, so he got a man of the match award there. It's been interesting. Kevin Peterson even got a man of the match award.
I saw that.
For his 48 for Quetta Gladiators against Islamabad.
Yeah, whenever KP gets a few runs these days, it still makes the news. It's quite incredible. I'll tell you who didn't make the news for getting 50 not out, who I think should have done, and I think actually is an underrated one-day international cricketer for England over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Any guesses?
Ravi Bopara.
Ravi Bopara, underrated one-day international cricketer, decent with the bat, bloody good with the ball and hard to get away, all-round great stubble on his face as well, still getting it done in the T20 over in Pakistan.
He has got great stubble, hasn't he? Maybe that's that stubble and the sort of little bit of a laid back, outlook on life is the reasons why he's probably not playing for England anymore. But that's not to say that I agree with England selectors on many things. So let's not worry about that.
Yeah, you know what his nickname is? Ravi Bopara. You know what his nickname is?
No,
it's not stubble. It's puppy.
Puppy. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
No, I've no idea why. Other than I'm looking at his puppy dog eyes, thinking, I wonder if that's it.
That could be it. That could be it. And to be honest with you, sometimes it's best not to look too deep into nicknames. It gets you into dodgy territory.
It does. It does. One thing about him, though, incredibly, he's still only 32 years old. It feels like that lad's been playing cricket forever and a day. He made his one-day international debut all the way back in 2007, played 8 years for England. And he's still playing now, so he was fairly young when he was coming on the scene playing for England. And fair play to the lad, go and make some money around the world.
Exactly. A couple more performances I just want to briefly mention. Luke Ronke, the Australian-New Zealander, whichever he's playing for these days, he got a 71 of 37 for Islamabad to beat Karachi Kings, and that was in the last game. So Babar Azam get a 50 in that one as well. Liam Dawson, England spinner, he took 3 for 20 and got a man of the match in a game between Lahore and Peshawar.
I was just about to mention Liam Dawson. Just that moment, I was like, did you know Liam Dawson is still playing in Pakistan Super League?
Yes, I did. But the interesting game, though, this is worth mentioning, mate. Lahore Calendars against Islamabad on March the 2nd. 121 for 9 for Islamabad. Okay, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Lahore
Calendars, 121. So they've lost 5 out of 5, but they tied against Islamabad. JP Dumini and Hussain Talat, 33 not out for that one. And then this is a game where Samit Patel opened the bowling, 3 for 17. Brendan McCullum, 34. Mohammed Sami, though, he took 3 for 21, and then he also bowled the super over, which clinched it for Islamabad. So Brilliant. I mean, that's cricket, isn't it? You want these tied matches in 2020. We don't see enough of them. I want to see them rolling back out and bowling 1 over.
Yeah, do it. Everyone loves a good penalty shootout in football, and I don't think there's any better way to do it than a 1 over smash.
Exactly, as close as we're going to get. So that pretty much that wraps up the news this week. That wraps up what's going on in some of the series. I think it's time we need to talk about South Africa-Australia first test.
I think we do, mate. This is, 1, it's 2 of the best teams in world cricket, and 2, the Aussies are back. And you know what I mean by saying the back.
They are back, and with a bang. So, on the field, let's go through the game then. 5th day, Australia needed just 22 balls to clinch the win in the first test in Durban. After setting South Africa what seemed an insurmountable target of 417 to win, it did, for a moment, look like South Africa had half a chance of this unlikely win, with upcoming star, someone we've touted, Aidan Markram, striking a wonderful 143. But Mitch Starc, late in the day on day 4, decided enough was enough and just basically took 3 wickets in an over to basically say that's enough. With claiming Philander, Maharaj and Rabada all in the same over, which that was it, game over pretty much. Now, it was a 118-run win for the tourists. Really impressive performance from Australia, but obviously it has been overshadowed. So, like I say, I just want to run through first the scores. I'll go through the innings and just the notable performers, because it is worth talking about the actual cricket before we get bogged down in talking about what we have to talk about. So, first innings, this was the key innings in my book. 351 for Australia. They won the toss, they had a bat. David Warner, 51. I wonder if we mention him again today. Steve Smith, 56. Sean Marsh, 40. Mitch Starc, 35. So really spreading the runs around. No one really jumping up until Mitch Marsh. Mitch Marsh, key role, hit 96. Double jug avoidance.
Yeah, jug avoidance. And also Mitch Marsh. When he came into the Ashes test, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Mitch Marsh is coming to play in the Ashes. Couldn't get my head around it. But since he's come in, the guy's really solidified himself as a top 6 international test cricketer. Quite incredibly, against a decent England bowling attack. Not the best, but decent. And a damn good South African bowling attack.
Mate, the last time I laughed my head off at an Australian selection of a number 6 was when they brought up this bizarre little leg spinner called Steve Smith to bat at 6. And I thought, what an absolute joke the Aussies are. So I'm not making any comment about Mitch Marsh other than good on you.
Oh, good on you, Mitch.
Exactly. Maharaj, I think we talked about him in the preview, just saying how he could be key to this game or this series. He took 523 on day one, on a day one pitch. That's amazing effort for a spinner.
One point on Maharaj. I don't know why I'm doing it with a Raj on the end.
I don't know.
Steve Smith. Okay, Steve Smith, one of the best players in the world. He's averaging forever and a day in Test match cricket. Do you know what his batting average is against left arm spin?
No, is it better than or worse than Kevin Peterson's?
On par, pretty much. He averages in the mid-20s against left-arm spin. So I think teams need to start listening to this podcast and going, hey, I get some bloody good information from this podcast. Let's bowl left-arm spin at Steve Smith from both ends with a new ball. Get
onto it, guys. Come on. So, carrying on from that awesome bit of tactical advice from Rob.
Pleasure.
Philander also 3 for 59 and Kagisa Rabada 2 for 74 in the first innings. So, moving on, second innings, South Africa, 162 all out. Not so good. A.B. de Villiers, he was the only one that showed some real resistance. He got an unbeaten 71, although Markram, 34 in the first innings, is worth a mention, considering he backed it up with his 143. Mitch Starc was the absolute star of the South African first innings. 5 for 34 off his 10 overs, blowing away the middle and lower order. They all count, mate. They all count as 1 wicket each. Doesn't matter if it's number 11 or number 1, does it?
Yeah.
But spin continued success though. Nathan Lyon chipped in with 3 for 50. So at that point, Australia in the box seat, well on top of the game, and then that gets them back into bat. So the third innings of the game, Cam Bancroft finally scored some runs. He got himself a 53. Maharaj continued his good test though, with 4 for 104 to finish with match figures of 9 for 227. Whilst everybody's favourite Morne Morkel took 3 for 47. And if I see Morne being spelt with a U anymore, Rob, I think I might just lose my shit.
You know what? I was just about to mention that, going, someone doesn't know how to spell his name properly.
Yeah, I apologise for Rob's spelling. You'll notice on any tweet, Facebook post, any social media, if the spelling is garbage, it's Rob. If it's not, it's me.
That seems fair.
Sorry, Rob. Anyway, so fourth innings, as I said, it was set up 417 to win. Markram was amazing. He was absolutely brilliant. He supported nicely for a while by Thanos de Bruin, 36, and Quinton de Kock, 83. Again, someone we may mention shortly.
Yep.
That man, Mitch Starc, though, he clinched the game with 4 for 75, including that 3 and an over on the end of day 4. Josh Hazlewood wrapped it up on day 5. Mitch Starc, man of the match, 9 for 109 in the game.
Wow.
That's pretty good bowling for me. I've got something to say about him in a little bit, but not to take away. His performance was incredible. I remember watching him play for Yorkshire, I think it was, against Notts a few years back in the T20 when he was kind of just getting into the international arena. And he looked awesome then. And it's just so good to see what a good bowler he's become. Rob, I'll hand it over to you if there's anything you want to pick out on that test match before we talk about the other stuff.
Yeah, I think what you need to look at when you look at this test match is what screwed England in the Ashes. When England were playing in the Ashes, for so long England were competitive with the Australians and will get blown away in the second half of the innings, and the tail would fail. And every single time England would make some inroads, the Australian tail would wag good and proper. And all we've seen again is an absolute replica of what has gone on. South Africa, 150 for 5 to 162 all out in the first innings, 283 for 5 to 298 all out in the second innings. Now, Australia scored 412 runs with their top wickets, with their top 6 wickets. With 2 stands of 50 plus. South Africa actually scored 433 runs with their top 6. So that tells you there's a massive discrepancy going on in the back end for the last 4 wickets. Australia scored 166 runs. South Africa's last 4 wickets combined, both innings, totaled 27 runs, which is actually the 4th worst in the history of Test cricket. That is the big difference between the two teams in this contest.
That's some great stats there.
You know why? You know why?
What? Why?
Because knowledge is power.
Wow, that's a really good expression. You should kind of make sure that's copyrighted or something, Rob.
I should do.
So.
The other interesting stat, looking through Cricinfo on this one, is Aidan Markham actually scored, in terms of the highest fourth inning scores in South Africa since the readmission. His was the second highest score in South Africa in the fourth innings of a test match since they've come back into play test cricket. Now, Rich, I'll make you a cup of tea next time I see you if you can guess who got the highest score in the fourth innings of a test match in South Africa in the last 20, 30 years.
In South Africa. Is he a South African or is it just in South Africa?
In South Africa.
It's going to be Peterson, isn't it? Something like that. You're just trying to wind me up.
No. Michael Atherton. Atherton's innings.
Oh, Atherton. Oh, okay. So it wasn't in South Africa then, because that was. Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, South Africa 95. Him and Jack Russell. Jack Russell, yes. I think he got 27 off about 200 balls.
Hey, that's solid. That is, mate. That's a supporting role.
Big fan of that. But yeah, incredible effort and fair play. Mitchell Starc, he doesn't always get out the top guys in the innings, but man, you put him in front of the tail, he blows them away in any contest, any format of cricket.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Great first test. Brilliant cricket. Roll on second test. But, massive but. This test has been overshadowed by the handbags, the kind of the pettiness, the patheticness. It's just a ridiculous kind of fallout from this game. So first off, I'm just going to quickly just mop up one other bit. Something that I noticed, I'm really, really pleased that this got picked up on. The other stuff, it happens, but this the stuff I'm going to talk about first really irritates me. So first off, Nathan Lyon, he's been fined 15% of his match fee. Now, why that is, on the fourth day of the test, I believe it was, AB de Villiers was running for a single, running back to make his ground. The ball came in, Lyon took the bails off, de Villiers is short, he's out. So Lyon starts running off to celebrate, and as he does, he just petulantly drops the ball right next to AB de Villiers. Just a real kind of step over, if you like. It was just a really cheap move, and it's just, that wound me up, that did. So I'm glad that's been seen. I'm glad that he's been done. To be fair to Lyon, he has apparently contacted AB to apologise. So that one's been done. We move on from that one.
Good on Gary.
Yeah, exactly. But the instant, it was deemed to be conduct that is contrary to the spirit of the game.
Agreed.
So that's fine, yeah. We also saw plenty of sledging from the Australians, especially Mitch Starc. He took it too far. Warner as well. He was really getting overly involved with the verbals, especially after one of the dismissals. Mitch Starc, for me, he was losing the plot. He was really getting stuck in. I mean, I like to have a chat when I'm bowling, but you can see when someone's starting to lose it, and he was really getting stuck into Thanos de Bruin, which I just thought was completely unnecessary, and it looked like it was going over the line. Now, the big story, though, obviously, is an incident that was caught on CCTV showing, as the players were leaving the field, going up the steps of the dressing rooms, showed David Warner trying to get into things with Quinton de Kock, and he was needing to be restrained by his teammates. I think Steve Smith and Tim Payne were holding him back. Not a good look for either team. The Aussie camp are claiming that de Kock crossed the line first. He did said something first. But then the Saffers are saying that Warner also got personal. So it's a bit of one of those he said, she said. This was just a niggly test match, not what we want to see. Nothing wrong with aggressive cricket, mate. But, my take on this is the Aussies, they took things too far for a change. They like to get stuck in. But then, they're really happy to give it some. But then when it's on the other foot, when they start getting it back, they can't take it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what it comes down to.
I was surprised. It's kind of been coming from the Aussies for a while because they are turning themselves into a good team. And it's almost like, if we're good, we need to be bullies because that's how Australia's played its cricket for so many years.
Yeah,
wrong. And if you are bullies, when someone comes back at you, you don't take the spat over when you cross the white line. And that's where the problems really come in here. Anyone that's played cricket has had fallouts with the opposition. 99 times out of 100, as soon as you cross that white line, you have a beer and things are forgotten. It's part of the game, it's part of playing cricket. But here, David Warner, the video footage, the CCTV footage, it just got him so far in the wrong, wanting to confront de Kock on the stairs. Luckily, there's a couple of Australians in the way from stopping him being able to do that, because all 5-foot fury of him might cause some damage. And then a couple of the South Africans came out of the dressing room as well. But David Warner, he's been charged with a level 2 offence for this, which means there's probably going to be a test match ban associated to it, which has unfortunately got the South Africans upset because they think it should be a level 3 offence, which basically carries with it a greater sentence, which could lead up to a series ban. But yeah, shocking by Warner.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, there's no ban in place, but it's getting very close. I think it's on a point system, isn't it? The what do you call it? The offences and whatnot. So I don't think there's a ban in place immediately, but there's one coming. If Warner doesn't kind of pull his neck in a little bit, there's one coming very soon for him. De Kock also got charged for that one as well as a level 1. So he's and fair play. He's obviously giving a load back. He was getting plenty on the field. So he's obviously hit that point and gone, he's giving some back. Graham Smith, I quite enjoyed this. I think he tweeted on it as well. He was just saying about, we can't be surprised when there is eventually a reaction. Obviously we're talking about Australia giving it out. If players are happy to give it, they have to be prepared to take it on both sides. I also quite liked what Captain Faf du Plessis said as well. He commented, he thought the on-field umpires could have done more. Could have been more involved when Warner and De Kock were exchanging words on the field, and that would have perhaps avoided the off-field stuff. Now, I kind of agree with this. When Mitch Stark was getting stuck in, I remember at the end of an over, I was kind of getting a little bit wound up. I was thinking I was the batsman for a minute, and I just looked around, and the umpire just had a little grin on his face. It's like, no, that's not right. Mitch Stark needed a little quiet word then, as the umpire was walking off to square leg, maybe. This is the best part for me, though, mate. If true, I don't know if it is, but this is what's been reported. Apparently, Australia, they've talked so much, and they were wanting to talk so much, they even tried to get the stump mics turned off by continuously mentioning rival sponsors' names.
Really?
Yeah, I love that.
That's shocking. We're English, and there's always a rivalry with someone like Australia. But this is all a bit too much. It's a bit too far. Now, one person who's had his say on social media, and if anyone's been on social media and seen the size of the guy, you'd think he's probably got a WWE contract. Chris Tremlett, all 6'7" of the ultimate Hulk specimen, is actually the picture I'm looking at is in his board shorts on the beach with his guns out. 2 tweets above that, if I stop looking at that, is the South Africans must be quaking in their boots at the sight of 5-foot-tall David Warner coming towards them, acting all tough. Hashtag Wellard with an A, no H.
Hey, Tremlett, he's a big dude now. He can say what he likes.
Yeah, and he's retired as well, so he can definitely say what he likes.
Yeah, too right. He's had some good days over the Aussies anyway. I mean,
he did.
2010-11 Ashes. I've not mentioned it for a few weeks, but he was a big boy in that one. Not just the look of the guy. He bowled really well in that one. So he's got every right to dig in and have a word if he wants.
He did. One of the great things was the Aussies were having a go at him, so he had a bit of banter back and forth. And all he kept doing was posting videos of when he got Australians out in Australia. Classic.
It was that last wicket at the SCG to finish the series, to give us the 3-1 win when it was Tremlett. I think the commentary was like, what is it, Tremlett coming into bowl, Tremlett bowling, Beer waiting, because the batsman who was facing at the other end was Michael Beer, that well-known Aussie spinner.
Love it.
But it was just the fact that it said Beer waiting. It's like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
It's almost as good as the one where the batsman's bowler, the batsman's holding the bowler's willy.
Something like that, yeah. Oh, that's good. It's just cricket commentary. Give me more of it. So,
yeah.
I just want to kind of wrap this up a little bit. For me, the Aussies, I absolutely love Australia as a country. I've spent a lot of time there. I love Australian cricket. There's some players that I hold up. Glenn McGrath was probably my hero growing up as a bowler. But what Australia demonstrate time and time again, and it does coincide with when they are becoming a stronger team, is they don't win well. They don't know how to win with dignity. When they're on top, like you say, they do start acting the bully because that's what they think they should have to do. But they don't know how to win with any sort of self, showing respect to opposition.
Yeah.
When they're on top, they want to put the foot on the throat and keep going, which is fine to a point. But they then need to accept that if somebody wants to get back on them, or if Australia are in a losing position, they need to learn how to handle it. Now, I don't know exactly what's been said, and if it has got overly personal between De Kock and Warner, then questions need to be asked of why that is. But, if de Kock has been getting it left, right and centre on the field for a few hours, then he's going to break at some point. He's going to give something back. And he might say something that he wouldn't normally say. But the Aussies create the environment for this to happen. So just suck it up, guys. They call us whinging poms. I have never known a country. I shouldn't group everybody. I apologise for that, but I've never known sort of cricket fans and whatnot to get so kind of grumpy when things are going against them. England fans will still have a beer no matter what the result. We'll still enjoy the cricket. We'll still go on the fifth day. Barmy Army will still be singing through to the end. The Aussies, if they're losing, they can't handle it. They can't.
No, so we've got a week off before the second Test match. And, a great point is they don't win well. But you look at someone that does win well. The England team in 2005, rolling back the years. But that image of Flintoff picking up an absolutely distraught, I think it was Brett Lee off the floor, just after we'd won the most epic Test match of all time. That is how you win well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, mate. And hopefully this will sort things out a little bit and bring it all to a head. Just want to bring something else in here. I think it's is it Greg Chappell? There's so many Chappells. Ian Chappell, sorry, former Ian Chappell has just weighed in a little bit. He said that he thinks a suspension would be appropriate because you need to stamp it out from the top down. Now, who he's talking about? He's talking about Smith and Darren Lehmann. He's basically just saying, look, Warner gets the suspension, okay, but while he's responsible for his own actions and word, he's been allowed to do it by people above him. I'd like to see those above him suspended for sanctioning it. If you start taking strong action like that, then you'll get some sanity. It's always the same. The players pay the penalty for the stupidity of those above. Warner is being encouraged to be the attack dog.
Yeah.
It's great. And he goes on to say, look, the laws of the game state the captain is responsible for the on-field actions of his players. So if Steve Smith is not stepping in, he's just as culpable. We're criticising Australia, but let's be clear, we're criticising this group of Australian cricketers. I think that's fantastic for me in Chappell. He kind of said, look, the administrators need to act. He said he'd been saying it for 15 years that there'll be fisticuffs at some point, and that was as close as it's come, isn't it? At some point, the Aussies are going to be involved in something that goes a lot further than what's happened.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Another thing I found quite amusing in this, Kagisa Rabada is like 1 point away from a two. I think he's already had one ban, so he's another point or so away from a 2-match ban. And he's basically just saying he's keeping quiet. He can't get involved. And the South Africans are saying because of that, he's having to hold back. He's not being able to fight fire with fire. So it's a strange tinderbox of a series that's underway here. And I look forward to the second test.
Yeah, roll on the second test.
Yes. So that's wrapped that one up unless you got anything else you want to add on that. If not, we shall go on to talk about the Cricket World Cup qualifiers.
Let's go. Cricket World Cup qualifiers. Awesome time of year.
Okay, so just give a bit of context, bit of background. So 50 over, obviously, Cricket World Cup. The qualifiers are underway in Zimbabwe. Games being played in Harare and Bulawayo. The tournament's running through from a few days ago to the 25th of March, where 2 teams will play in a final. Those 2 teams will proceed through to the World Cricket World Cup that will be held next year. So we've got 10 teams in this. We've got 4 member nations, West Indies. West Indies are in a qualifier. Zimbabwe, as well as the New Boys Island and Afghanistan. So each team's going to play each other once, with the top 3 teams of each group going into the Super 6. All points carried forward, all results matter. And as we said, 2 will play off in a final that will close it out on March 23rd, 25th, 23rd, around that time anyway. So, plenty of good games so far. We'll continue to watch this. There's a lot of cricket to be played in this. And just to briefly, I'll just mention our home nations, Scotland and Ireland, have both won 2 from 2 games. And also Zimbabwe, they've won 2 from 2. So, Rob, do you want to just kind of briefly go over the games you've kind of seen and talk about that a little bit?
Keeping tabs on it, because I always think it's interesting. Football World Cup qualifies, everyone bloody loves it. Everyone wants to know who's there, and it's like, oh, there's no Italy, there's no Holland. That's kind of a big deal. And this is kind of thrown out a little more with teams like West Indies, like historical big guns in one-day cricket, actually having to claw the way to try and get through. So, first game, UAE played Papua New Guinea. UAE picked up the win. 2-2-1 plays 113. Mostafa got 95. Ahmed got 50. Those 2 guys opened, and then there was a collapse, and Papua New Guinea fell apart trying to get there. So, interesting game of cricket. There's more runs as we go, though. So, Ireland played against the Netherlands, and Netherlands over the last 10 years have actually done all right for themselves as an associate nation. Had some decent performances against some of the top teams in the World Cups that they've been playing in. But a decent game for Ireland, 268 for them, 149 all out for Netherlands in response. William Porterfield, O'Brien and Bell Barney with 68 to get them across the line. But it was a Duckworth-Lewis affected game, and whenever there's Duckworth-Lewis, you get the results are a little bit off from what you'd expect. Game 3, Zimbabwe, 380 for 6, the highest score that we've seen so far. Sakinda Raza with 123, man of the match off 66 balls, so he was going bonsai. And Brendan Taylor, the ex-Notts guy, picked up 100. Great to see that man playing international cricket again. Way too good to be not wasted playing county cricket, but he's got so much he can offer to that country. Nepal in response picked up 264. Never really at the races trying to get a score that big, so quite an easy win.
I just want to jump in on that one a little bit, though. But 264 for 8 against Zimbabwe, that's a decent score for Nepal. That's a good effort. That's not a bad effort. I know they've lost by 116, but chasing 380, not many teams in world cricket would get that. So fair play. And Sakinda Raza as well, what a knock.
Yeah, top knock. Right home to your grandkids about that knock.
Next game, though, mate, this is probably the big game so far, isn't it? Afghanistan-Scotland.
It is. Afghanistan, we've talked about them and just how great they can be and how great they are, and how well they're doing on the international circuit. They got 255 all out, 49.4 overs. Nabi picked up 92, Zandran 67, Shazad 30. Incredibly, Scotland chasing down a decent total, 250, 260. Associate Nation cricket, still a good total to try and, claw your way to get there. And Scotland knocked them off 3 wickets down with 16 balls remaining. Callum MacLeod, 157 not out off 146 balls, I'll get there. And Berrington picking up 67 to give Scotland an epic start against what must be the favourites of the competition.
Yeah, them in West Indies, you'd be saying the two teams that should do it. MacLeod, I think I think I saw somewhere that you'd note that he's hit a few centuries. This was his 3rd ODI score of 150 plus. I'd never heard of Callum MacLeod. So, yeah, what can I say? Unbelievable knock.
Yeah, fair play to him. And the other one was Ireland, Papua New Guinea, a decent contest here as well. Papua New Guinea, 235. A guy called Ura, and I may be pronouncing it wrong.
Tony.
He got 151.
Yeah, just call him Tony.
Tony, Big Tone. Local mechanic.
Yeah, 151. Top knock. 151 out of 235.
Yeah, that's useful.
He's done well.
Response, 237 for 6 off 49.1 overs for Ireland. Got there with 5 balls to spare. And, yeah, William Porterfield, 111. Ed Joyce, 53. Kind of just cruising home, and it doesn't really look like they were in any danger of losing that one.
No, not at all. And it's a straight, fair play, Big Tone, 151. Good on you for getting the man of the match. But surely, Will Porterfield's 111, a match-winning 111, should have got it. But, we're splitting hairs there, aren't we? So, but yeah, fair, good old Ireland. I'm glad to see them doing well. This next game I just want to talk about briefly, mate. UAE against West Indies. West Indies, 357 for 4. Now, the reason I want to talk about it isn't Chris Gale getting 123 off 91 balls, which included 11 sixes, which is, you'd think that's what we'd want to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a young lad called Shimron Hetmyer. Now, I don't know how you pronounce that name. It's Hetmyer, so Hetmyer. He got 127 off 93, but he's only 21. He's a new name. He hit a fair few boundaries as well, obviously, as you'd imagine, in 127. But that's the man I'm kind of excited about. It's a new name. West Indies need these young players to come through. They need the new generation to step up. So, let's keep an eye on that name. UAE in response, another century. Ramiz Shadzad. Rob, do you want to have a go?
Yep.
I don't know if it's an actual Shazad because it's not a H, it's a J.
Oh,
unless I have just done a typo and just put a J instead of a H because they are quite close to each other on the keypad.
Let's call him Ramiz.
So, Ramiz, big Ramiz, 112. Yeah, Jason Holder, 5 for 53, the most frustratingly medium-paced tall man bowler I've ever seen. if he could just take some advice, he could be about a 90-mile-an-hour bowler, couldn't he, the size of him?
He could, if he could just sling it down there. But pretty standard victory for West Indies, that. Never really looking in too much danger of UAE getting close. And you'd expect them to score a bag full of runs, but it is good to see Chris Gale back in a West Indies shirt.
And in this tournament. I mean, it's such a great coup to get him playing in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Zimbabwe, Afghanistan next. And in what is another cracking game of cricket, there's plenty going on at the moment. Zimbabwe 196 all out of 43 overs. Brendan Taylor 89 and Raza picking up 60. Those two guys in the runs again. Incredibly, Afghanistan 194 all out. Lose by 2 runs with 3 balls remaining in the contest. Ramat Shah 69 and Nabi 51, just falling short for Afghanistan, who will be kicking themselves. 2 losses in 2.
Absolutely, and Raza showing he's got a bit of ability with the ball as well. You know, we know very little about this lad, but 3 for 40 with the ball, and he picks up a second man of the match in 2 games. Brilliant. You know how much we love names on this podcast. The brilliantly named Blessing Muzarabani took 4 for 47. Blessing. He's called Blessing.
Blessing.
I mean, he's a great lad. What a lad. 4 for 47. So it's a real surprise that Afghanistan have got off on the wrong foot in this tournament. You would expect to see them turn this around soon, but have they left it too much to do?
Well done.
Yeah, the last game. I'll briefly go through this one because it doesn't need much talk. Hong Kong 91 all out against Scotland. Scotland in response 92 for 6. That's either a minefield of a pitch they've played on, or it's just shoddy. Nizkat Khan 26 for Hong Kong. Tom Sole 4 for 15 off 10. He picked up the man of the match with Captain Kyle Kurtzer 41 not out to see Scotland over the line. So that's where we are at the moment. As I say, Ireland, Scotland, Zimbabwe, the standout team so far. 2 wins from 2 for those guys.
Yeah.
West Indies obviously with a really impressive win in their first game. UAE, they got off to a win as well. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on this one. With plenty more cricket to play. As it goes through, we'll obviously keep you up to date with what's going on in that one.
I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to put some money. I'm not a betting man, but I'm putting money on Scotland to progress in the top 2 out of left field.
Yeah,
based on Callum McLeod and also Tom being the heart and soul of the competition. His surname's Soul.
Oh. I don't like that. There's got to be better jokes. There's got to be some fish-related jokes, surely.
No. No.
Fair enough. Oh, man, I don't know where to go with that. I think from looking at it, though, I think Zimbabwe, they're on the verge of being relevant again, aren't they? Even though they got a bit of a hammering at the hands of Afghanistan recently in a separate series. So it's really going to be an interesting one to see come through. West Indies, you've got to say they must be favourites. And then you can't discount Ireland, I think, at the moment.
No, Ireland is strong. And it's a huge time for Irish cricket. We've spoken in the last episode about 1, getting a new stadium, 2, Test match debut. They are a genuine Test match nation. They'll play Test matches, one-day cricket, T20s against all the big boys. Massive time for them. And they're doing well in the rankings. You know, it's not impossible to dream of a time where Ireland automatically qualify for some of the big tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good luck to them, buddy. So that kind of wraps up where we are at the Cricket World Cup at the moment. There's plenty of news kind of just working its way through the system. We IPL captains are being announced. We're keeping a track on that. We'll be talking about that in due course. Obviously, we're about a month away still, so there's a bit of time for us to before we start digging into that. Obviously, we're going to be keeping abreast of the Pakistan Super League. Nida has T20. And the qualifiers, and obviously there's some good cricket being played. New Zealand, England. We've both tipped 3-2 to New Zealand. We're staying with that, Rob. We're still staying with that.
Yes, we're definitely staying with that. I'm going 3-2 New Zealand. I am going for Kane Williamson 100 in the final one-day international.
Okay, that sounds good. Australia, South Africa. I think South Africa are going to come back really strong in that second test. I think they're going to get a win. So I think we're going to be talking about a 1-1 Test series there. Any thoughts on that one?
No thoughts. You know what's going through my head at the moment?
No.
Soul jokes.
Soul jokes. You got a better one?
Well, I've not really got one, but I'm just a soul whose intentions are good.
Is this a good time to say that's episode 6 in the books, and we look forward to speaking to you next week?
I think we may have just limped towards the end of the podcast.
We lack soul.
We lack soul, but thank you for listening, guys. We hope you've got more soul than us. Any soul puns, let us know below. It's been excellent, as always, guys. Till next time.